Coming up on Newswatch at noon in depth.
We have a lot of students that live in the outlying areas, out in the township and the rural parts, and they don't have high-speed internet. And it's a big impact on what we're able to offer from an educational standpoint.
The World Wide Web may not be as wide as some people think, as Athens County students struggle for online access after school hours.
You can see that's a lot more friendly than this one, which is a 45.
Will concealed carry on Ohio University's campus be a bang or a bust? We'll tell you how students and the community feel about the proposed concealed carry bill.
For us at River Valley, in my experience, being on the other side of the table, we've taken so many kids over the years that probably would not get a college education if it weren't for sports.
College may seem like a far throw for some high school students, but athletic recruitments could shorten the distance for young Southeast Ohio athletes. All this and more coming up now on Newswatch at noon in depth.
A protester was assaulted last night at an anti-Donald Trump rally at Ohio State University. As you can see here in this video, the person launched himself down the stairs at the protester. Campus police were quick to apprehend the person, and he was taken away from the protesters. The university released a statement last week saying that they supported students' rights to demonstrate their feelings about the election, but they are also concerned about verbal assaults on campus and now this physical assault.
And that's it for sports. Sean, the New York football Jets got crushed by Arizona, but I heard a different, pretty cool story about Jets that you have.
Yeah, the New York Jets, they looked awful last night, but here's one that certainly doesn't. You know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the U.S. Navy is showing their commitment to the cause. This retired Grumman F9 F8 Cougar is on display on the flight deck of the USS Lexington in Corpus Christi, Texas. If you were wondering, that is not normally what fighter jets look like. This pink paint is not permanent and will be washed off at the end of the month.
Many Australians are pushing for a vote on same-sex marriage.
And many North Carolinians are still without power days after Hurricane Matthew made landfall. These stories and more when Newswatch returns. And recent studies show that harmful pesticides may be in up to 70% of the fruits and vegetables that you buy. That story is still ahead.
It's a life-changing time for high school football players when they transition from Friday night lights to Saturday game day. But the process of moving from high school football to the college level is not as easy as trading one jersey for another. Newswatch at noon in-depth reporter Danny Dean is live at Peden Stadium. Danny, how tough is that route for Southeast Ohio kids trying to get that golden ticket to college?
They want to get right here, but it's a lot tougher for kids from this area. They don't have the same exposure as students from other high schools with more resources.
And in case you needed more incentive to head out to vote, Next Gen Climate was out in Howard Park on Ohio University's campus this afternoon with puppies, encouraging people to vote. The group also had an inflatable obstacle course, life-size Connect 4 Jenga. The main goal of the event, though, was to get college students and millennials to head to the polls and vote. Next Gen says that they have registered 52,000 voters before the election.
Puppies are awesome. Everyone loves puppies. Democracy is awesome, and everyone loves democracy. So we're just doing everything that we can to make sure that students see that they have an opportunity to vote, and that we can make sure their voices are heard. This is the first election that millennials rival boomers in their numbers when it comes to how many are able to vote. The question is how many of them are actually going to vote. So we're trying to maximize the opportunity that students have to make their voices heard in this election.
An Alabama pipeline killed one and left several injured. Stick around for more on what the city's mayor has to say about the blast that went through his community.
And with 1 week left until the general election takes place, we'll bring you an update on what you need to know before you head to the polls.
A Wisconsin tornado caused incredible damage yesterday with wind speeds of more than 100 miles per hour. That story is still ahead. This morning, someone spray painted over the sanctuary graffiti on the free speech wall located on Ohio University's campus. The message, a Make America Great Again acronym, and a quote from Ronald Reagan. The quote reads, "A nation that cannot control its borders is not a nation." Meanwhile, the free speech wall is repainted, but the marks are still visible.
We are just minutes away from the polls closing, and results will soon be flooding in. WOUB's Allison Gens joins us live from the Athens County GOP headquarters as they get ready to watch the polls tonight. Allison?
A special election in Georgia could determine the future of the Republican Party while President Trump remains in office.
And the nationwide manhunt for the Cleveland Facebook killer comes to an abrupt end. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
You may have noticed more dogs around campuses, but if they aren't allowed in dorms or buildings, how do they get there? We'll show you how students are sidestepping university rules. This story and more when Newswatch returns.
Welcome back, everyone. Big game tonight in the Convocation Center. The Bobcats are back in Athens to take on conference rival Toledo. Danny Dean is live at the Convo. And Danny, how's it looking tonight for the Bobcats?
4 kittens were found on West Green at Ohio University. Bobcats of the Shelter Dogs, a student organization, is looking to raise $600 to get the cats treatment before putting them up for adoption. The student group is using the donations to get the kittens the necessary treatment to continue living a healthy life. In one day, the organization has almost reached their goal. The group's donation page can be found at GoFundMe if you wish to help contribute.
The Boy Scouts of America announced that they will now be accepting transgender children into the organization.
And President Trump will announce his nominees for Supreme Court Justice tonight at 8. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
The CDC recently found that nearly half of adults over the age of 65 with high blood pressure are not taking their medication correctly. That story is still ahead.
There's no denying that technology is embedded in nearly everything we do in today's society. But imagine trying to do homework on a smartphone or trying to apply for jobs at the library. That's the reality for many people in Southeast Ohio, because even if they have devices, they may not have a way to connect. Newswatch at Noon in-depth reporter Sean Neidig joins us to explain the struggles to get connected.
Yeah, here in our newsroom on the campus of Ohio University, you can see a lot of computers. But once you leave the building, you won't find a place like this for miles.
For the past 5 months, the Vinton County Commissioners and the Campbell family have been working together to bring a new store to the Vinton County area. The new store will feature fresh meat and produce and employ about 30 people. WOUB reporter Marisa Oberly is live in MacArthur with Community Reaction. Marisa, are residents excited about the store? And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Mackenzie Pyatt.
And I'm Sean Neidig. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can always find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.